Hello everyone and welcome back to Handmade Not Hallmark. Today I've got something special for you guys. This is my very first Halloween card I want to share with you. I am using the new stamp set from Simon Says Stamp called the Boo Crew. This is new from their STAMPtember release. And I'm going to first take some Bristol Smooth cardstock and some Wilted Violet Distress Oxide ink and some Black Soot Distress Oxide ink, and I'm going to be blending them together here on this cardstock to make a nice little kind of focal panel for my card. And I'm not super worried about how well they blend together because I'm going to be doing some splattering, and I just want to have a nice kind of Halloween themed background. Now again, this is my very first Halloween card. I don't usually make Halloween cards. If you guys follow my channel, it's mostly Christmas because that's my favorite time of year. But I saw this stamp set during STAMPtember's release, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. I immediately thought of my kids and how, you know, they could make some things for their friends at school. So I thought, why not give it a go? And I absolutely adore the way that it turned out. I might be hooked, but we'll see what happens. So just blending these together using some blending brushes. I'm pretty new to using Distress Oxide inks and these blending brushes. I wasn't really a huge fan of them, but I've started playing with them around a little bit more and I've started to like them. So you'll see me use them quite a bit in my upcoming Christmas series. It's going to be starting in October. I've already got lots of things planned using some older products and some new stuff from Simon and some new stuff coming from some new companies. So stick around for that. So now that I have this all ink blended, I'm going to clean off my work surface here and get ready to do some ink splattering. To get that all cleaned off, clean my brushes a bit. Now I don't have a big variety of brushes yet. I don't have any set aside strictly for color, so I make sure that they're nice and clean in between uses so that I can use them with multiple colors. So I'm just going to take some water from my mini mister here, and I'm just going to kind of dab the water onto it to get that oxidation going. Dry it off with a damp paper towel. I let it sit for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to take some of this shimmer spray onto an acrylic block, and I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm just going to splatter it off of the edge to get some nice sparkle in the background. And it's nice subtle sparkle. I really like it. I did this similar kind of style of card, kind of like this spotlighting with a Christmas card I did last year, and I'll link it up in the top if you want to see how I did that card. It's kind of where I got the idea to do this layout. So next I'm going to do some splattering. I took that same Black Soot Oxide ink and the Wilted Violet, and I just smushed it here on my Tonic mat, and I'm just taking that paintbrush and I'm just tapping it to get those splatters. And I really like the way this turned out, and I thought maybe I should add a little bit of something else. So I decided to take some paint. I have some white acrylic paint. It's pretty opaque. And the first time I did it, it didn't really turn out very good because I think I still had some black paint on my brush, so it kind of came out gray. So I decided to wipe off my surface and start fresh. Now I was thinking about getting some, I think it's some white gouache to use instead of this acrylic paint, but I haven't gotten that far yet. And this acrylic paint seems to be working pretty good for me so far. So again, I'm just going to water it down a little bit to get it moving so that I can add those splatters. And again, I wasn't too worried about, you know, what it looked like because most of it's going to be covered up by the little images. But I was really pleased with the way this turned out. And so I'm going to set that off to the side to dry while we work on coloring our images. Now to save some time, I already stamped these. I used some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm using some Copic friendly cardstock. And we'll get right into the coloring here. So I'm going to start out with my little mummy here. And again, I'm new to doing Halloween images. So this is kind of a first step for me. I don't have a whole lot of like Halloween type colors. So I just kind of worked with what I have. So the little mummy here, I'm using W1, W3 to add some shading to his little bindings. And I really like this little mummy. I think he's super sweet. And for his skin tone, I am using E00 and E11. And then I'm just going to add a little RV10 to his cheeks just to add some color to him. And I really liked the way he turned out. I thought he was super cute. I could see my kids wrapping themselves up to look like a mummy like this. I think that's why I liked him so much. Reminded me of my little boys. Next, moving on to the little witch here. I'm using RV04, I'm using V04, V06, and V09 to color in all of the purple here, the little band around her hat, and her little dress. And I really like this purple combination. I think it's a nice, rich purple for Halloween. And I really had a lot of fun coloring these as well, because these are kind of, new images for me. I know it sounds kind of like, oh, so what, you didn't do, Halloween cards, but it is kind of a first step for me, because I was always kind of like, ooh, I don't really like Halloween. I don't know who I'd send Halloween cards to. I don't typically decorate for Halloween. I decorate for fall in general, cover all my bases. So this was really kind of a first step for me. For her little cape here, I am using YR18, YR15, and Y17 for her little cape and her little bow in her hair. And then again, same for her skin tones. I'm using E00 and E11 to color in her skin. And then we're going to, oh, I forgot her little sash here on her dress. I colored it with the same orange colors. And for the broom handle and the broom, I used E74 and E79. And then for the actual brush part of the broom, I used E55 and E59. For her little shoes, I just used a W7 marker. I wasn't really too worried about shading those in. And then finally, for her little hat here, I used W3, W5, and W7 to get that nice, rich, warm color. I didn't want to necessarily do a black hat. I didn't want it to be super black. I wanted to kind of be able to add that shading, and I really like the way that this turned out. This is my favorite kind of color combination to do dark colored images. And then finally, for her hair here, I used E21, E23, and E25 to give her a nice kind of brown colored hair. I don't color a whole lot of people often. I do a lot of, critters and mostly critters, really, especially around the holidays. But I really like coloring people. This was a lot of fun for me. And a little RV10 for her cheeks. Next, we're going to move on to this little kitty cat here. And I went with a typical, black cat for Halloween. And I did the same warm gray colors, W3, W5, and W7 to give him that nice dark color, but not lose any of that detail that he's got going on in his little face here and his legs. And then I added a little RV10 in the ears and the little nose. And I really like this little black cat. I like how there's several black cats in this set. There's this one sitting, and then there's one standing. There's lots of really, really cute images in this set. There were so many, I made it hard to choose which ones to use for this. But that gives me lots more options if I decide to make another card, which I do have another idea. So you might see that come into the channel as well. Here for the little ghost, we're using BG10 for just to add a little color to the actual ghost part. For the little mouth area, I just used some warm gray colors. For the skin tones, again, the E00 and E11. For the little shoes, I used V04 and V06. For the little pumpkin, I used my same orangey colors, YR18, YR15, and Y17. And then for the little sleeves, I used G05 and G09, as well as some of those warm grays again for those sleeves. And I used the coordinating dies to cut out all of my little critters here. Or excuse me, I said critters, all my little characters. So there I go with the critters. And what I did here is I took some white cardstock and I used my MFT stitched stack dies to create these little panels to create that opening in my card. And this is where I decided on that I wanted to add the Boo Crew to my card. I was just going to do a simple, like just one line sentiment, and I thought I needed to add a little something else to this, and I really, really liked this Boo Crew sentiment. It was I think it's the main reason that I chose this, because I thought it was so cute, because again, I thought of my kids. So I just took an acrylic block of that same Copic friendly cardstock, and I am using the the orange colors that I used before, YR18, YR15, and Y17 for my letters here. I wanted to go with kind of like an ombre look, going from dark to light for all of the letters. Get those all colored in, and then for the actual lollipop, I used VO4, VO6, VO9 for the little band, and then for the green parts I used GO5 and GO9, and for the little stick I used E23 for that. So I'll get all that colored in. And again, this, like I said, this has been my first card back for quite a while. You know, life got caught up with, you know, what's going on in the world. I got kind of behind. My crafting mojo kind of got a little laxed, and I seem to have gotten back into it. I've been really enjoying creating lately, and I'm super excited to bring this card to you guys to kind of get back into the flow of getting these videos out to you. And I really appreciate everybody who has stuck around, and I can't wait to share with you guys what I've got coming up. I've been pumping out cards like crazy, and it's going to be great. So I'm just going to take the coordinating dies that come with this set for this, and I'm going to start arranging my little pieces here. And this is where I decided I'm going to add one more small sentiment underneath that Boo Crew. So what I wanted to do first is I wanted to attach my background panel to my card base, and I'm just using some slate gray, I think, from Simon, and I have it cut to a top folding card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I just used some tape runner to tape that down, and I'm going to place it here in my MISTI so I can line up where I want this single line sentiment to go. So I'm just going to kind of assemble all of my pieces inside my MISTI here of where I want them to go, so I kind of have an idea of the placement for the actual sentiment that I want to use. So kind of lining everything up, and I eventually move that kitty somewhere else, so but I get everything kind of lined up, and I decided to use the No Tricks, Just Treats. I thought that went really cute with this little grouping of characters, and I decided to use the Wilted Violet Distress ink to bring back in that purple. And that's what I think I really like about these distress inks here, these Oxide inks, is that they're pigmented enough and opaque enough that you can stamp with them. Unlike the other distress inks, they're a little harder to stamp with. So I really like that. And then I decided I wanted to add one more little thing. There's this cute little spider on his web, and I thought it would look really cute coming down from the top corner there. And I just used that black soot ink before, so I didn't have to get out any more stamps. So that brings in all of those colors back. And I thought he looked really cute up there in the top corner. I thought about kind of, he's awful small for googly eyes, so maybe if he was a little bit bigger, he'd get some googly eyes. But I thought he was cute just like that. And I'm absolutely terrified of spiders, and I thought he was cute, so that's saying something. So now that I have all of those pieces together, I can actually get to assembling my card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all these pieces so I can get these white panels glued down, and I'm just using some 3M foam tape here to pop up these panels. This card has a lot of dimension to it, and I really like that. I really like adding dimension to cards. I think it gives it lots of character. And again, I'm just using some 3M tape, take the backing off, and I'm lining it up with the bottom edge of that panel there. And a little bit of something there on the bottom, but I wasn't too bothered by it. I just use one piece here, get that top panel stuck up there, make sure I get my spider around the right way. Sorry if my head gets in the way, I just wanted to make sure I got it lined up along the top edge there. And it adds just a little bit of dimension, you know, it kind of adds a little bit of focal point. Again, I'll link to that video that I did this same technique with last year. Again, I'm going to use some foam tape to pop up my characters here. I don't think I'll do much of a fall or Halloween series. I think I'm just going to kind of sporadically throw in some videos this year with, you know, things being kind of crazy with what's going on today, that card making is kind of really taking a back burner for me. But I am, you know, getting back into the swing of things, and I'm really enjoying it. But my holiday series this year, it is going to be great. I've already got, I think, up to 7 cards completed and video edited, just working on voiceovers, and those will start in October. So I'm super thrilled about that, and I can't wait to share them with you. Lots of really cool ideas for this year. So I'm going to get these little characters all arranged here. Start with the mummy, then a little ghost, and then I'll put the witch on next. I really like the little Frankenstein character too. I think I might use him in another one. I like his little stance and stuff. He's super cute. Get the witch placed there. And then I decided I wanted to pop up the Boo Crew. I've only used 1 layer of foam tape on the 3 characters that are on there, and then I decided to use 2 layers on the Boo Crew so it stood out just a little bit more. And then for the little kitty cat, I thought it would be really cute if it was sitting up on top of that sentiment. So I ended up using 3 layers of foam tape on the kitty to really pop him forward to make sure that it stood out and it was at a nice layer. I probably would have benefited from maybe using like a dark, I think they make a black foam tape, just so it wasn't so stark white. I mean, you can't really notice it unless you look from the side of the card, but I think maybe I'll try that next time. But again, being my first Halloween themed card, I wasn't really prepared for that, but I think I'll try that next time. So again, I'm doing 3 layers of foam tape just on the top part of the cat so that his body can rest on the little Boo Crew sentiment there. And I really, really like the way that this turned out. I was super thrilled. My kids thought it was really cute too. So lots of dimension, really like that. Next, I wanted to add some finishing details to my little critters, I keep saying critters because I'm so used to doing critters. To my little characters here, I'm just taking my Sakura black pen and I'm adding some detail to their eyes to make them pop. And then I'm going to take my Wink of Stella glitter brush pen and add some glitter to them, to the little witch's hat, to her little dress, a little bit on the ghost and the mummy, a little cat's ears, I think, and then all over that Boo Crew sentiment. Can never have too much sparkle. There's lots of glitter, I think, around Halloween, costumes and everything. I just really like adding shimmer. And then I'll do some white pen detail to all of the characters there. Add a little to their cheeks, to the witch's outfit and her little hat. And then I'll add some highlight detail to the actual Boo Crew sentiment. I'm not really a huge fan of doing white highlight detail, but this really turned out great on these. I really enjoyed the way that this looked, especially on those bold letters. It really makes them kind of pop and stand out. And I made sure that I did my Wink of Stella first and then my white gel pen second, because if you do it the other way around, the Wink of Stella will kind of erase the white gel pen. So, and then the last thing I wanted to do was I wanted to add in just a little bit more dimension. So I took some Nuvo crystal drops in ebony black and added just a few dots across my card here. And that finishes up my card for today. I want to thank you guys so much for coming by and watching my very first Halloween card. I hope you stick around for more. I'll have a few more cards coming up. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos here on my channel, as well as a little notification bell. And stick around. I've got lots of cards coming your way in the next month. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye!